Were they abusive to you? I'm sorry you threw that. Yeah. I mean, mentally, physically, emotionally, all kinds of abusive. Yeah. Check, check, check. We're gonna press charges. No, I'm just going to get divorced.
Remember her? Remember Kimberly and TJ? From spiritual soulmates who found each other in dreams to explosive allegations of abuse, accusations of cheating, and even claims of witchcraft. Yeah, things have got really bad for these two. So let's start from the beginning and trace exactly how this fairy tale descended into a nightmare. So, as you no doubt recall, TJ and Kimberly were an explosive couple from season 5 of The Other Way. She was an Alabama psychic.
I am clairvoyant. I am able to see energies, figures. I am claircognizant, which is having this overall knowing feeling.
And he was an Indian voiceover artist. The pair had what seemed to be a magical origin story. They met on a spiritual social media group, and get this, Kimberly claimed she literally saw TJ in her dreams before they ever spoke. But Kimberly's psychic powers clearly failed her, because their fairy tale quickly turned dark. Like, from the very moment that she set foot in her new home in India, things started to fall apart. As I'm sure you recall, TJ insisted that they live with his family, but they have their own separate apartment above where his family would live. I mean, the poor guy even went into debt. He took out a massive loan in order to build this apartment, the separate apartment for Kimberly. But, of course, nothing was to her standards. I mean, yes, granted, it was still a work in progress, but Kimberly, a lady who up until then was presented to us as being a positive person, couldn't find a single positive thing to say about all of TJ's hard work. She called the apartment awful. She said the builders didn't do anything right. And understandably, TJ was annoyed. He really didn't like her attitude.
I'm not your servant, for your kind info.
No, you're supposed to be my partner and you're failing at it.
Yeah, keep in mind, this was all on day one, but it got worse from there. You see, TJ turned out to be a massive mama's boy. Every time they fought, which happened a lot, he'd run down to his mummy. He'd moan and complain about her to his family. And unsurprisingly, before long, Kimberly's relationship with his family, and in particular TJ's brother Yash, became extremely toxic.
No, it is because of TJ, because I hate India. I don't want to be here. He is the only reason I'm here. He's the only reason I have to put up with you.
He's the only reason we are tolerating you.
Now, add into the mix the fact that TJ's family felt that she was disrespecting their strict Hindu customs. Not to mention the fact that she'd constantly be arguing and screaming at TJ. And you can see why. Clearly this was always a disaster waiting to happen. Yeah, that scream never fails to terrify me. But despite all of these red flags, despite their relationship clearly not working and fighting right up until the wedding day, even on the wedding day itself, they did still end up tying the knot. But if you thought that marriage would fix all of their problems, well, you'd be very wrong. You see, what we didn't see on TV was just how bad things had got behind the scenes. We all saw just how much Kimberly was struggling to adapt to life in India, but it was her comments that she made after filming ended that really got her into trouble.
Is it true that people smell bad in India? India doesn't have deodorant the way the US has deodorant. It's just something like Deo, which kind of just reminds me of like an Axe body spray kind of thing. And it's just like a body spray and it goes away very fast.
Yeah, this wasn't just a cultural misunderstanding. This was racism. It was a straight up racist generalisation of an entire nation of people. And the pattern was becoming increasingly clear. Kimberly wasn't just struggling with cultural differences. She was actively rejecting and insulting TJ's entire heritage. She refused to learn Hindi, she criticised their food, she disrespected their religious practices, and she was basically acting like everything Indian was beneath her. But it got worse. You see, Kim was so clearly anti-India that during the tell-all, producers brought someone on who was very much pro-India to come at her.
First of all, respect India. Respect India or don't be here.
I don't want to, darling.
Keep in mind, Jenny has spent years living in India and respectfully adapting to Indian culture. She represented literally everything that Kimberly wasn't. Like, Jenny's a fan favourite. There's a reason why she keeps appearing on this show year after year. But Kimberly, by comparison, well, she's often cited as being one of the most disliked people to have ever appeared on the show. And the fact was, Kimberly couldn't handle Jen and everything that she represented. She totally flipped out.
Okay, wow.
You can laugh all you want, but you know what? You are very entitled. Little spoiled brat is what you are.
You're a
Yeah, she definitely needed to work on her anger management, and needless to say, it just made her even more unpopular. But, of course, cultural differences were just the tip of the iceberg. You see, soon after the tell-all, just months after their wedding, Kimberly fled India permanently. She cited severe depression and a complete inability to adapt to Indian culture as her reasons for leaving. But here's the thing, none of that should have been a surprise to her. She knew all of this before she got married. Heck, she'd even lived in India before on a student visa for an entire year. Now, meanwhile, TJ was stuck. He couldn't just move to America, like he had no visa, no work authorization. And let's not forget, his family relied on him and he had a big debt to pay back too for the apartment that he built Kimberly. But here's where the story begins to get really messy. Like, as if it wasn't messy enough, it starts to go downhill fast. You see, in a bid to try and save their marriage, TJ flew to America for the very first time to visit his wife. Kimberly literally documented everything as if it was some kind of cultural exchange program.
What is your favorite memory of the trip so far? What's been your favorite thing so far in America? Do you have a new favorite food?
Oh, bagel was good.
Bagel was good? Ooh.
Yeah.
Now, for a few weeks at least, it seemed like maybe, just maybe, they might have figured everything out. Perhaps they could overcome all obstacles. Maybe love really could conquer all. Heck, TJ even managed to convince Kimberly to return to India to give their marriage another chance. Kim even posted on social media about how she was ready to try again, how she'd learned from her past experience, how she'd grown, how this time would supposedly be different. But, get this, her stay in India lasted exactly 11 days. Yeah, 11 days. And this is when things took a very dark turn. Now, while we don't know the exact details of everything that went down, the aftermath was absolutely explosive. On September the 21st, 2024, TJ posted a picture of their wedding photos ripped to shreds and scattered on the floor with the caption, "Bye forever." He claimed that Kimberly had torn up the photos and that she never appreciated anything that he ever did. And then he completely deactivated his Instagram account. But the same day that TJ posted those photos, Kimberly went live on Instagram and made some very serious accusations of her own. During a very emotional live stream, she clarified that yes, she did destroy some parts of their wedding album, but she said it was only because they couldn't even manage to spell my name right in the album. But she then went on to make some much more deeply concerning accusations of her own.
Me getting punched, like, in my eyeball was my first one that I did ignore. I did marry him after that. But after we were married, whenever we got into arguments, he would legitimately beat his head against the wall and say that he was going to kill himself and blame it all on me and say that I did it. He would go into the kitchen, grab knives, like...
Yeah, I mean, those are some very serious accusations. They're incredibly concerning, but it does of course raise the question, why did she marry him in the first place if the first incident that she talks about happened before their wedding? That, if true of course, should have been enough to end the relationship there and then, shouldn't it? Still, when asked by fans whether or not she intended to press charges against TJ, her response was,
I'm gonna press charges. No, I'm just going to get divorced.
Now, here's the thing. Within hours of making these serious allegations, Kimberly deleted all of her videos. Now, this wasn't the first time that she'd done this. There's a clear pattern here. She'd make explosive claims during emotional moments. She'd wait long enough for those claims to get attention, and then she'd just delete the video. Now, TJ's response came a few days later. He denied everything. He called the allegations, quote, total lies. In fact, he even went further. He questioned why she'd wait 5 months before making these accusations if they were true. He was adamant. He insisted that he never laid a finger on Kim. According to him, this was all a ploy by her to stay relevant and try and get more followers or subscribers. She just wants attention, he said. Everything about her, including our marriage, was all for attention.
Tell that our marriage is a contract because you wanted to help in your business. Didn't you tell them? Tell them this thing as well. That you always think like it's a contract. If I could help you, then it's fine. Otherwise, there is no sense of me living with you. But you have a very sick mindset of putting everything on live, everything on selling out everything. I mean, selling out everything because you need subscriber.
But he didn't just deny the claims. He didn't just accuse her of doing it all for clout. He then took things a step further. TJ said that Kim was, quote, so demonic for the way that she treated him, and he hoped that God would teach her a lesson. Then, just like before, he completely deactivated his Instagram account in the hopes that everything would be lost. I've got to say, big shout out to all the fan accounts out there like 90 Sips of Reality or the Reality TV Mess that have learnt to screenshot and download everything immediately. Honestly, these accounts and others like them help to hold both of these guys responsible and accountable for what they post. If they think that they can just say whatever they want and then delete it and everything will magically disappear, well, they're wrong. It's all still here for us to see because of accounts like them. Now, of course, the drama wasn't over yet. Their social media drama still had a few more twists and turns. You see, on January the 31st, 2025, TJ, again having reactivated his Instagram account by now, posted a photo of him and Kimberly together at an Indian temple with text over the top. The text read, "Because infidelity is your charm doesn't allow you to air any shit about me." And the hashtag on that had hashtag single again. Now, from the claims of cheating, you can only assume that Kimberly had a new romantic partner. But, of course, they were still legally married at this point. Either way, when followers asked him if he still speaks to Kimberly, his response was ice cold. "No," he said, "I wish I never had or never have to." But wait, it actually gets weirder. TJ also put up a post about being, quote, scared of people who do black magic, which I presume is a direct attack on Kimberly's spiritual practices. So, yeah, this is so messy. We've gone from abuse allegations to accusations of infidelity, and now to witchcraft accusations. Again, soon after, all of this was also deleted. But it does raise the question, what's their marital status as of today? Well, while Kimberly had initially claimed that TJ would, quote, never ever sign the papers and that she's, quote, stuck married to him, it does actually seem, thankfully, like they are now officially divorced. Yeah, it's for the best. This was a toxic relationship, and I don't think there's any doubt they're both better off apart. Frankly, I don't think they should have ever got married in the first place. Kimberly is, of course, back in the States, and she's building her spiritual empire under her Positively Kimberly brand. She offers and she's often advertising her tarot card readings and her spiritual coaching, for which she charges anywhere from $50 to $200 per session. And she also earns a bit of money from selling cameo videos to fans as well.
First of all, with this deck, the first thing that popped out was the beggar.
But speaking of videos, her Positively Kimberly YouTube channel, which was promoted on the show, let's not forget, is still active, but it's got this really weird mix of half inspirational self-help videos, half emotional vlog style content, but then also a scattering of these really bizarre 10-hour long manifest wealth in your sleep type content that frankly isn't really getting many views. But yeah, she's certainly trying. Now, beyond the spiritual stuff, she's also appeared in a few indie films. She's appeared in films like Snow White and Ghost Finder. If anyone's actually watched either of those, leave a comment down below. Heck, if you've bought any of the books she's written, yeah, she's also an author, leave a comment as well. I'd love to know what they're like. She's got a book of poetry, and she's also got a book about mental toughness. Plus, let's not forget, she also sells blank journals to help people with their healing journey. Yeah, all in all, it definitely seems like she's dabbling in everything. She's certainly keeping busy. Now, as for her love life, well, she seems to have a new guy in her life called Mick. Now, there's not that much available about him online, but he's a self-proclaimed poet and adventurer. He calls Kimberly his muse in his IG profile, and he often leaves cute messages in her social media posts. Messages like, "Nothing could be more beautiful in my eyes than you next to me." Hopefully this relationship is way less volatile than her last one. Now, as for TJ, well, there hasn't really been all that much word from him since their breakup. It's very sporadic. I mean, his IG is currently active. Hold on to your hats, it might be gone any second now. But what's interesting about his IG is his bio currently reads, "Treatment, progress, resilience, #rehab time." That kind of indicates that he might be undergoing some kind of rehabilitation program. Now, he does continue to do voiceover work, but what about his love life? Well, he did tease that he might have also found someone new. He's made a few posts with the #newlove, but because he hasn't shared any photos, it's difficult to know. And surprise, surprise, as always, all posts about new love are quickly deleted. So yeah, while we don't actually know for sure what's happening in his life, I think it's safe to say his family home probably is a lot calmer and quieter these days. The truth is, TJ and Kimberly have to go down as having one of the worst relationships in 90-day history, and that's saying a lot. I just hope that they've both learnt something from this experience, and fingers crossed they can have a better future apart from each other than they did together. Hopefully, it's one with way less screaming.